President Biden and the First Lady are traveling to Maine this afternoon to mourn and to comfort the people of Lewiston after a gunman opened fire and killed 18 people there last week. It's now the deadliest mass shooting of 2023 so far, and in the state's history as well.
Our White House correspondent MaryAlice Parks joins us to preview the president's remarks. So MaryAlice, you know, he's been to Buffalo, Uvalde, Monterey Park, and that's just this year alone. Now another message for a community mourning yet another mass shooting.
Yeah, Kira, you're exactly right. And that's been the message from this White House, that this is happening far too often, that this is a scene the president does not want to be going to, because he's been going so many places like this. But he knows that people are hurting in Maine. He wants to be there to comfort them and console them. But the White House clearly frustrated that this just keeps happening. Now, this is interesting to me that this is actually the first time we're going to hear the president speak on what happened in Lewiston, Maine. We heard the White House sort of press secretary make comments last week, but the president himself didn't come before the cameras. I think that we've seen the president in this role, you know, a consoler, someone who's experienced grief on a personal level. The president is good at this. He likes making that human connection. But again, they are just frustrated here at the White House. I mean, some statistics for you. According to the Gun Violence Archive, there have been more than 1,900 mass shootings during this last presidency, Biden's presidency. Now, they've taken several steps to address gun violence. We know that just a few weeks ago, this summer, they had that new office announced here at the White House, Gun Violence Prevention Office. Several gun reform activists had been calling for that move, and they did pass the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. I mean, it was the first major piece of gun reform legislation in 40 years, with money to help states try to implement red flag laws and beef up their background checks. But they say it is just not nearly enough, that they are waiting on Congress to do more, and that they really feel like they're at a point where they need Congress to act more on this issue, guys.
And MaryAlice, president is grieving with the Lewiston community. At the same time, the fighting between Israel and Hamas rages on, and a looming government shutdown is you know, November 17th is the deadline for that. This is the life of a president, to go from something as heartbreaking as this to something as challenging as other things. How does Biden handle that?
Yeah, I mean, you have to pick your battles. You have to prioritize work. I think there's a lot of voters that are really concerned about gun violence who will say they don't think that the president has prioritized this enough, because, frankly, there's a lot on his plate. I mean, you're exactly right. This is a White House that is still worried there could be a government shutdown in just a few weeks if we don't see action from Congress. This is a White House that's absolutely asking for big pieces of legislation to continue to support Ukraine, to send money abroad to Israel and allies, humanitarian relief for the people of Gaza. I mean, there's a lot of big asks of Congress right now, and that is exactly what is really tough for this White House. They want this to be a priority, but there's a lot on the to-do list.
All right, well, of course, this brings the debate over gun reform front and center again. I think we lost MaryAlice. You still with us, MaryAlice?
Oh, yep, I hear you now, Kira.
Are we back? That's okay. We're just talking about gun reform. You know, every time a mass shooting like this happens, lawmakers get involved and they bring it up to the forefront again.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we see the White House saying that this is a moment, every one of these shootings is a moment for more policy, that gun safety reform is a way to try to at least limit gun violence. But we just don't see that appetite at all from Republicans. I mean, the new Speaker of the House, Johnson, didn't even vote for the bipartisan gun safety reform bill last year. You know, what's interesting is looking at some of the ways the administration has tried to work around this a bit. They're trying to encourage states to take their own action. They're trying to fund gun safety legislation at the state level, make sure that law enforcement has more resources, that state legislatures have more resources to pass their own bills, while this Democratic president is really frustrated by inaction on the federal level.
All right, MaryAlice Parks there on the north lawn of the White House. Thanks very much.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.